All right. I want to welcome everybody. It is now 6:30, and I want to welcome you all to our meeting. Today, it is going to be a combined meeting between our work session and regular council meeting, because obviously our council meeting is going to be held on, it's going to take place on Thursday, so that's why we're combining both of them. And you know what Thursday is? Veterans Day, and City Hall will be closed. Before I get started, I want to go ahead and please stand up, and we're going to do a moment of silence. Bill Jones was our city manager, mayor, and council members for many years, and we're going to do a moment of silence to honor him. He passed away on Friday, right, Danny? Friday? And we're going to honor him, his grandkids, his family, and of course his wife, Donna Jones. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Please remain standing. Pastor Rudy Swinepool is here, and he's going to do the opening prayer. And after that, please remain standing, because we're going to do the pledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the invitation. 1 Kings 3, verse 7 to 9, Solomon says, after the Lord asked him what he could do to help with this new appointment he was just elected, and he said this, and I think we can learn from this. Now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king instead of my father David, but I am a little child. I do not know how to go out or to come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people, whom you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to be numbered or counted. Therefore, give to your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this great people of yours? Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, we come to you together, and first of all, we want to pray for the Jones family. We pray that you will comfort them, that you will establish them, that you will lift them, and God, that they will be able to hold on to precious memories and a legacy that have been established over the years. We pray that they will never feel alone, but that you will be with them. We also pray, O Lord, that you will give and grant us all wisdom. Not wisdom as we many times define as just knowledge that we apply, knowledge that we currently have applying in certain situations. But we want to echo the words of that great King Solomon, whom asked for an understanding heart to rightly govern, rightly do the thing, to discern between right and wrong. Lord, we pray for the council, we pray for the mayor, the leaders of the city. We thank you for them, and we pray, Lord, those who have personal challenge that they have to navigate, and then also look after the city. We pray, O Lord, that you will lead them and guide them, that you will give them understanding hearts, and that they will rule in wisdom. And Lord, that you will make this city prosperous. We pray that you will make this place safe for families to flourish and businesses to grow. We pray, O Lord, for the treasure of our children. Lord, that they are not just the future of Loganville and this community, but they now, Lord, help them to flourish in the schools and keep them safe and prosperous as the city grows and as we go forward. Lord, that we will navigate the challenges that are so vast and complex. We pray, lead this council to see with understanding hearts and to govern rightly. We pray this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, please remain standing. Raise the flag. Our two mayor for a day, Sierra, and her brother, Jaden, are going to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you. I'd like to, before we start our agenda, kind of like when we did with former council member Mike Jones, I'd like to, Bill Jones, of course, passed away. I'd like to bring, ask the council, or maybe city manager, city attorney, or finance director, if they would have any statements about Bill Jones, what Bill Jones meant to each one of us. If nobody wants to get started, I will get started, because Bill Jones had an impact on me. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to the council members.
I will start. Bill is the one that got me into this mess. And Jay will tell you the same thing, but he was a mentor.
And Christy Ash and Ray and
Oh, there's a whole bunch.
Natalie and Robin and Danny Roberts, Robbie Schwartz.
There's a bunch. But anyway, I would go to his house and we'd sit and talk, and even visited with him when he was in the hospital, when he had his previous heart situations. And we talked maybe once a month or so when he moved to the mountains. And I'll tell you this, I talked to his wife on Saturday, and she said, it's funny that you called, that we had just talked about you about 2 weeks ago. And Bill was so glad that I didn't run again for me, and he knew how I take stress. And it was getting to be too stressful for me. But on a lighter note, it was 5 to 12. Qualifying had to, I ran unopposed for Chuck Bagley's seat. Well, I was unopposed for 5 minutes, just about. And Bill called me and he says, well, you got 5 minutes left and there's nobody gonna run. But he says, I've got Greg and Chief and everybody blocking the entrances. He says, nobody can get in. And so we talked for until it was right after 12, and he said, well, you're in. So, but he's just a great man, great family. So, yeah, I'm going to miss him, as we all are. Thank you.
Bill, as you recall, Bill was city council, correct me if I'm wrong with these dates, by the way. Bill was city council 96 to 98, 97 to 98, mayor 98 to 99, correct? And then after that, 2000 to just 2017, was city manager of our city. And I remember my first year when I first got elected, a year after that, 2012, I got called to serve overseas. And I was at the council at the time, and I said, Bill, what can I do? I mean, I got orders here to go overseas. What do I do? And that man taught me into staying. He said, we will work it out. You're not going to withdraw from the council. We will find a way where you could cast votes overseas, and we'll find a way. And I remember using Skype, and he was very instrumental. This was before the IT, before Kyle. This was almost 10 years ago. So he was very instrumental in talking to me and keeping me in the council where I didn't have to drop off while I was still serving overseas. So Bill was just that, he had an open door policy. You could come to Bill with any issues, and he had that sense of calmness that I think most of us witnessed, and he will be greatly missed. So that's my story. He did love the Chick-fil-A sandwiches, though. He did. He loved them. But anyway, anybody else?
Yes, I would like to.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
As most of you know, well, some of y'all know, Bill and Donna and Freddie and I have been friends for 40 years. Tim was 4 years old when we met them, and they were just really special to us. We did lots of things with them. Our kids grew up together. He will be greatly missed. And I'm also in council because of Bill. And the first time I ran, I got beat. And he said, that's okay, you know, do it again the next time. So I did and got in, and then ran this time and got in. So Bill was a great influence to a lot of people. And there's a lot of people in this town that knows Bill. If they don't know him by personal, they know his name, because he was great for the city. He did wonderful things for the city. The city was his passion. And I want our council to have the city as our passion. As our new council members come on, I want our city, our council, to have a passion for our city, because Bill did. And that will be one way we can honor him. And I love him, and I missed him, and I talked to Donna today, and she says I have good moments and bad moments, and that's going to be for a while. But she said the kids are holding up pretty good, Will and Sarah and Tim and Lisa. But y'all just keep them in your prayers, because tomorrow's going to be a really rough day for them and for all of us that love and knew Bill.
Anybody?
I'll go next. I need a couple boxes of these, though. What they said and what others will say is exactly right about Bill. I was like the mentor after you. It was Ray, and then it was my turn. And like I said, those that served at the learning tree of Bill Jones. I mean, how many of us here? Amazing man. I'm going to read, Walton Tribune did actually Danny Ford, read this because I won't make it through it. Walton Tribune, I guess it's Patrick Graham probably wrote it. A fantastic article on Bill. Read that for me, and we'll go from there.
It starts out, it says, Bill Jones served Loganville well. The news Friday morning that Bill Jones had died came as quite a shock here at the newspaper. Jones was a larger-than-life figure during his 15-year tenure as the city manager of Loganville. He always had a laugh and a joke, and more importantly, a plan for moving his city forward. Well, he didn't always laugh. Woe it be to the contractor or anyone, for that matter, that didn't hold up its end of the bargain on serving the citizens. But that's because, at the end of the day, that was his top priority, no matter who the mayor was or who was on the council. Jones set a great example during a tremendous change in Loganville. He served with citizens' best interests first, and all of Walton County was better for it. He will be missed, but his legacy lives on in a city that's better now than it was when he found it.
Thank you, Danny.
Yes, no problem.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll say, when I got involved in this, Bill, well, when I decided to run for city council, Bill was very kind. He was a very, very kind-hearted man, and took me in, and any questions I had, he took time with me to explain how things work, and he encouraged me all along the way. And he knew my biggest fear was someone asking me a question that I didn't know the answer to. And he was so sweet to sit and talk to me and tell me, it's okay if you don't know the answer. And that's just the kind of guy he was, just big-hearted, and would take time to sit and talk to you and comfort and nurture you. So I give my condolences to the family. I feel bad for them. It's going to be a tough few days, tough few months coming up, and he's definitely going to be missed.
Anybody else?
I do.
Oh, Ann.
I think something that's, people who serve like Bill served, serve quietly and in the background, and you don't realize how much they do until they're gone. And he did love the city. He left quite a legacy here, and he will be missed.
Thank you.
Like Jay said, I was brought on by Bill Jones. And the way it happened was I was representing the city through its insurance carrier. And I had to come out and give a report on litigation that the city was involved in. And I told them, you're going to lose, 100%. And Bill said, I'd like to hire you. I thought, okay, but it is emblematic of how he was as a city manager. He and I fought many, many battles together on behalf of the city. And he always just said, I just want the truth, give it to me straight, and we will deal with it. He was a master behind-the-scenes conductor, in a way like like you all have said, I mean, he was always so respectful of the council and of the city and of its citizens. It meant more to him, the city meant more to him than anything. And, you know, it was always a pleasure watching him get something really naughty, a naughty problem, and work to unravel that knot. He, like I said, we fought many battles together professionally. He knew my girls and my family professionally. He has stuck up for me many times, as I have tried to do for him over the years, and I will miss him professionally, but also that friendship. Donna said something to me the other day when I was communicating with her. She said, she and Bill have an eternal love that will go beyond the grave. And I told her, I truly believe that, because to watch the two of them and to be able to witness the kind of marriage and relationship that they had, I told her I'm so thankful I got to see that and how inspiring that was just between the two of them. So, yeah, I'm grateful to him for many, many things, and he will be very missed.
I guess I'll go since he put me in this position. Not once, but twice. So, yeah, he put me in the fire chief when I was 32. Told him I was too young. He says no such thing as too young. So, like Robin said, he would get you to do things that you didn't think you could do or want to do, but he'd always make you do it. Tomorrow's going to be rough, and we're going to miss him.
I can't let it go without saying something. I was 22 when I started here, and I started in February of 1997, and Bill hired me. And he had come on to council in January. So I tell him all the time, we've grown up together, because we did. We grew up in the city together. I had a ringside seat and was able to watch him go from council member to mayor to city manager to my, as he called me, my work wife. For years, it was just the two of us in office. So I got the privilege to see everything that they talked about, to see how he would get in, something would come upon him and he'd be like, I don't know how we're gonna get through it. And every time he was masterful in making a way where there wasn't a way. And I'm just thankful that I got to witness that. I got to be a part of that. And I told him, I said, I've never known working here in the city without you. And it was hard. But the foundation that he laid for all of us is insurmountable. And it was I will forever be privileged to have worked for him and to know him on the level that I did. He was there when I started dating my husband, when we got married, when my son came along. So many things he was there for. And we're going to miss him.
Thank you. Danny, you want to mention the service, the hours and the time?
So tomorrow we'll be at the New Community Fellowship Church. Address is 4037 Bailey Circle.
Mike? Turn your mic on.
Thank you. So repeat that from 1 to 3 tomorrow at the Hope Community Fellowship Church, 4037 Bailey Circle. That's off Highway 20 going towards Conyers. Then the funeral will be at 3 o'clock at the gymnasium, I believe, and then we'll leave there and go to Internal Hills Memorial Gardens, 3700 Stone Mountain Highway, for a graveside service, and he'll be also have a Masonic burial there as well, as he was a Mason at Fergus Lodge 135 for 23 years. He was a Master Mason.
Thank you. Skip was also council for 8 years, and he's also mayor-elect. He'd like to say a few words. Dr. Johnson.
I just wanted to make a comment. With 8 years for Bill, one of the things he really did, through the trials and tribulations that any city council goes through, he somehow found a way to make it fun. And I'll say that most of the time. There were those moments when the battles had to be fought, and, you know, you stood your ground, he stood his ground, decisions were made, and we moved on. I remember when we was on the council and we started talking about trying to have a town green. We were ahead of that before a lot of other cities took that lead. We've had ours now for 7, 8, 10 years, and some of the others are just building theirs. And we had a mayor back then, God bless his soul, Ray Nunley. And Ray, one of the things Ray would tell you is how he felt. I mean, if you ever had an idea or you ever questioned how Ray felt, you just went and asked him, and by God, you found out how he felt. And that was a good thing for me. I like it that way. Ray had just come through the big downturn in the economy and didn't want to spend any money. We understood, but things were getting better. Things were getting a lot better. The revenue was coming in. We had the money. Well, we finally got enough council members that we were going to have a town green. So they got the engineers out, got the cost estimates out, got all those kinds of things, and we got enough money for the town green. And the pavilion you see at the town green was seen by Bill on a trip he made up into the mountains, and he saw it in Silva, North Carolina. And he said, man, that would fit our city great. So we hired that city up there to come down here and build one like it. And it's very nice. It does have that rustic mountain look. And then as the council was talking, and again, money was not free-flowing by any means, but we said, you know, your city, well, our city, deserves a place for the citizens to have events. Well, after a lot of discussion, we came up with the Rock Gym. And how many of you, Christy, I know you do, remember what the Rock Gym looked like before the transformation? It was in rough shape. We found the money for that. It came right in on budget, and it was great. And then the discussion turned around to, we've got an event center. Wouldn't it be nice to have a meeting place to supplement the event center? And that's where the old ag building came in. And the council agreed, and we had spent some money, trust me, we had, because at that point in time, we were replacing police cars, the old LTD Crown Vics. We had one in the system that was using a case of oil every month that was still rolling on the roads, so that had to be fixed. If you all remember that? I think they transferred it over here, didn't they? I think they did. So we started getting the money, and we got the money for the, came up with the money for the ag building. And Bill called me one morning, he says, we may have some problems. And I said, what do you mean? Well, the money we got is not going to do this project. So after calling a few people, I called Bill back, and I said, you know, the reason that it was going to cost a lot more is all the floors had separated from the walls. So a lot more had to be torn out and replaced. So we said, let's continue on, we'll find the money. And we did. And now you've got a nice facility. But I got to tell you, working with Bill was a lot of fun. He was so knowledgeable. And I know that description in the paper was so accurate, larger-than-life character. And I threw the character part in. I don't think Patrick said that in the paper, but he was larger than life, and he lived a great life. And I think if you were to ask him today, he would not look back for 1 minute except for leaving his family. He's in a better place. And although the family will grieve and will mourn for a while, I don't think he'd look back and change a lot in his life. He seemed to be a very, very content person with what he had done with his life. So, God bless him, rest in peace. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Before I call the meeting, adopt the agenda and call the meeting to order, I'd like to recognize, as you guys know, today we're combining both meetings. I'd like to recognize all the veterans in the room. Please stand up and take a vow. We'd like to appreciate your service to our great country. So let's do that. Thank you, you so much for your service. I also would like to recognize a friend of mine. I got a chance to meet her, and she is just an extra. I've met with her already, and we talked about her son that was killed in Syria in 2017, and she is a Gold Star mom, and she's here with her husband. And what a great young man that I never got a chance to meet, but she loves him and she misses him every day. And I like for Miss Sheila Murphy and her beautiful husband right next to her to stand up, and let's recognize the Gold Star mom. What a sacrifice, man. Tell you what, if you want to just say brief words about your son, you have the floor, ma'am, because you do deserve that honor. So you are more than welcome to speak on behalf of your son that gave his life for our country. Go ahead, Ms.
See my baby boy. My son, Etienne Murphy, he was 22, a ranger. We're from Massachusetts, and he didn't like Massachusetts. I moved him here when he was, I think, maybe 8, and we moved back to Boston when he was a teenager, and I had to come back here for some personal reasons, and he had to come here because he wouldn't eat in Boston because he was a mama's boy, my baby. And he wouldn't join the ROTC or anything. He was in high school in Boston, but when he came here, as soon as he came here, he ran right to ROTC and joined. But 9/11 is what sparked his curiosity and desire to want to fight because he loved his country. And 17 years old, he asked me to sign the paper because I had to, and I didn't want to. I didn't. And I begged him not to join. He said, Mom, I want to join. And I knew that if I didn't sign, he was going to do it anyways the next year. So I wanted to be supportive. With apprehension, I signed the paper, and he was so excited. When I started looking in his eyes, I knew I had done the right thing for him, not for me. But he went to Fort Benning. He did his boot camp in Fort Benning, Georgia. From there, he went to New York, and he was in the 10th Mountain Division, the infantry, in New York, Fort Drum. Yeah, not Fort Hood. And then from there, he said, Mom, he told his dad, he said, I want to be a ranger. I didn't know what a ranger was. I said, okay, that's fine, that's good. I'm just proud of my son. He's doing what he wanted to do. So he did. He went to Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, and he was a ranger. And one day he said, Mom, I'm going to Syria, but I don't really want to go. And I said, well, tell him you don't want to go. I didn't know how it worked. I'm like, tell him you don't want to go. He said, oh, I don't really want to go, Mom, but it's okay. I'm just going to be a driver for the Black Ops. He said, I'll be fine. I said, okay, good. But then, what did he tell you?
He said, Dad, I can't wait to go.
So he was always looking out for me, didn't want me to worry. So he told me he was just going to be a driver, but he wasn't a driver. I didn't know. He is an anti-tank gunner. He was in Syria for 5 days. And I got a call from his wife saying, go home. And I got the knock on the door. And he was in a motor vehicle rollover at 80 miles per hour, and he was ejected. And 4 people in the vehicle, and he didn't make it. So I'm fighting now for my son to be remembered, and I'm fighting for all Gold Star families to be recognized and for our name to become a household name, because many people don't know who we are, and they should, because we are the true casualties of war. And just having all of you stand up, it warmed my heart. Yep. Because we don't have that much support with family and friends, because they get tired of me talking about Etienne, and this is me every day. I wear him every day, everywhere I go. And it's hard on them. So to see you all who don't even know me to stand up and just honor my son, it means the world to me, and we're so thankful and grateful for all of you. So thank you, Mayor Martinez, for giving me the floor to speak about my son, and thank you all. And thank you all veterans for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And as you notice behind me, there's a program I started a few years ago, and it has just taken off by leaps and bounds. I guess a lot of kids want to become mayor for a day, and I welcome each and every one of them. But I got 3 today. Normally I have 1 or 2, but, you know, like I said, this is a program, and I'm not going to turn down a family that wants their young daughter or young son to become mayor for a day. They have met our staff. They were here a few days ago, and they've met our staff, and now they're here so they could get recognized for mayor for a day. So they're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order by doing the traditional gavel. So we got Treasurer. Go ahead, Treasurer. All right, yeah. We got Sierra and her brother Jaden. Thank you. And I'll call the meeting to order. There is a change. All right, the agenda has been adopted. This was last month's minute. I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to approve last month's minute. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second by Lisa. Any discussions on last month's minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, last month's minutes have been approved. Last month's financial report. I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of last month's financial report. We
Second.
have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the last month's financial report? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, it has been approved. This is a special day for many, and this is normal. This is normal. This is how our council meeting, we recognize, we honor, but we pay tribute. So this doesn't happen very often, and you guys are blessed to be witnessing this, where we have both chairmen. As you guys know, City of Loganville straddles 2 counties. 25 to 30% is in Gwinnett County. The other 70 to 75 is in Walton County. So it is a great honor. It really is. This, like I said, it doesn't happen very often, where the 2 chairpersons of both counties that we represent are here. And they're going to give us a very brief report. But before that, I like to honor the boys and the girls real quick for mayor for a day. That's going to be very briefly because it's past their bedtime and they got to go to school tomorrow, right? So let's go ahead and folks, let's go ahead and go around. And I'm going to honor you guys real briefly, and then we'll have the chairmen introduce them. All right? Like I said, Mayor for a Day is a special time because we recognize the young leaders, the future leaders of our country. So I'm very excited about honoring them. So here we got little Treasure. She was, I'll tell you, when she came over, when she toured City Hall, she wasn't saying a word. I think she said it, she probably said, what, 2 or 3 words? And her family's here too in support. But now she's all excited and she's saying a bunch of words. And look at her smile, right? I'll tell you, you got to take a picture of that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is what it's all about. But the City of Loganville, Office of the Mayor, Certificate of Honor, let it be hereby be known that on this day, I, Ray Martinez, Mayor of the City of Loganville, do recognize Treasurer Williams as honorary Mayor for a day in the great city of Loganville, November 8th, 2021. Congratulations. You want she wants to ask me something. Let's go.
I love my mommy.
Did you hear that? I love my mommy. That's all about. That is why we do Mayor for a Day. Can't top that. Love you too, honey. All right. I've got a letter to, where is the letter? Okay. I met these two young men, brothers and sisters, in Lilburn when I was doing an event, and this young man helped me out. And I said, you know what, it's hard to find men, young men like you here. So I said, you better come to Loganville, and they did. The parents are here from all the way from Lilburn. So we take them from everywhere, not just Loganville. All right, so I want to honor Jaden Bateman. The city of Loganville takes great pride in recognizing those individuals within our community who exceed in a particular area, making them stand out to those around them. One such individual is Jaden Bateman. Jaden has a very strong work ethic and selflessly helps or lends a hand where he can. It was this assistance that has brought him and his family here today. Helping Mayor Martinez set up and take down a recent festival, he made such an impression on the mayor that his presence was requested here at the council meeting. An active member of the MCGROTC, as you could tell, program at Parkview, Jaden volunteers in his community, and it's truly incredible continuing to be an active part of his community while growing into the kind young man is the example we encourage for our young people. Therefore, we, the City of Loganville Mayor and Council, would like to present this recognition to Jaden Bateman. May you continue to see success as you move forward in life. Given this 8th day of November 2021, Mayor Ray Martinez. Congratulations. And he also became a mayor for a day because he was here the other day. So, City of Loganville, Office of the Mayor, Certificate of Honor. Let it be hereby be known that on this day, I, Ray Martinez, Mayor of the City of Loganville, do recognize Jaden Bateman as honorary mayor for a day, November 8th, 2021. Congratulations, sir. Good. That's what sisters are for, to help out. That's right. All right, and this is his sister, Sierra Thomas. The City of Loganville takes great pride in recognizing those individuals within our community who exceed in a particular area, making them stand out to those around them. One such individual is Sierra Thomas. Sierra is an active part of the Girl Scouts, participating in, of course, selling our favorite Girl Scout cookies, but also in beautifying her community and planting trees. She has volunteered and contributed her time to raise funds to help offset the cost for families who are part of the Ronald McDonald House charity. Volunteering at a festival is where her efforts were recognized by the mayor as she selflessly gave her time and energy in her community. Sierra is also a member of the All-State Chorus. She will be attending her Junior Theater Festival with a group from her school, Smoke Rise Academy for the Arts. How about that? Continue to be an active part of her community while growing into a strong, confident female is something we hope to see for all of our young people. We will to celebrate examples such as these kids here today. Therefore, we, the City of Loganville Mayor and Council, would like to present this recognition to Sierra Thomas. May you continue to see success as you move forward in life. Given this 8th day of November 2021, Mayor Ray Martinez. Congratulations. And she's also Mayor for a day. City of Loganville, Office of the Mayor, Certificate of Honor. Let it be hereby be known that on this day, I, Ray Martinez, Mayor of the City of Loganville, do recognize Sierra Thomas as honorary mayor for a day, given this November 8th, 2021. Again, congratulations. And let's get Treasurer up here, and we'll take a quick group picture, okay? Thank you. In Gwinnett County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Greetings, council members. Thank you so much for having me this evening, and thank you to all the guests who are here today. Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to ask him what his favorite county is. I won't do it. I won't put you on the spot that way, but you do have the largest share of the city, so I'll give you that. Well, I want to bring greetings on behalf of the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners. Mayor Ray Martinez, I know this is his second to last meeting, and I did promise that I would make at least one of his meetings, and he asked if I could give an update for the county just to talk about some of the great things that are happening. But I'm going to divert from that because I'm in my first year of my 3-year term, and they got plenty of time to hear updates about the county. In fact, my State of the County is in March. Y'all can make plans to attend that. But instead, I've been moved to do something different. And Mayor Martinez has spent countless years in just serving in the public arena, and I've watched you recognize so many people in this community, even today, recognizing the young people. That means a lot to me, as I have a heart and passion for our youth, and that means so much for them to see people pour into them. And I see how you recognize people in your audience and members of your community and former members, and my goodness, Mr. Bill Jones has left quite a legacy for this community, and I would say even just for this entire state, and I hope that his legacy continues to live on through each of you. But in spirit of the recognition, I think it was most deserving that we turn the recognition back on you. So I am here today to present a proclamation on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to recognize Mayor Ray Martinez Day. And I'm going to read
It wasn't planned.
proclamation. So if you will indulge me. Whereas Ray Martinez has served the city of Loganville as a passionate leader for more than 11 years. And whereas Martinez was elected to Loganville City Council in 2010 and was re-elected to serve a second term in 2013. And whereas Martinez has served on a multitude of boards and committees, helping guide and make decisions regarding policy, procedures, and investments, further advancing the focus of Loganville and shaping its future. And whereas Martinez has served in the U.S. Navy with 3 deployments to the Middle East in support of Operation Noble Eagle and Enduring Freedom, earning many awards, including the Navy Achievement Medal and the Global War on Terrorism Campaign Medal. And whereas throughout his career in public service, Mayor Martinez has built cooperative relationships with residents, community groups, local nonprofits, state and local government organizations, and other members of our community. Now, therefore, I, Nicole Love Hendrickson, do hereby express my gratitude for Mayor Ray Martinez's many years of dedicated service to the city of Loganville. And as he prepares to step down from his role as mayor at the end of this year, Mayor Martinez leaves a lasting impression as a dependable leader and friend who takes great pride in his work and in his community. So I want to present this to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Chairwoman Nicole Love Henderson. Thank you for being here. I know she's so busy, but she takes time to be here. And Nicole, this is what we do just about every council. We recognize our youth. We recognize just everybody, and I'm so honored to be doing that. So,
That's amazing.
thank you.
Well, thank you, Martinez. And thank you again for allowing me time. I was like, wow, it's past my bedtime, but y'all didn't set your clocks back, so make sure y'all do that, please. Okay. Good night, everyone.
All right, so we got Chairman Walton County, my friend David Thompson.
Thank you, Ray. I am not an orator or a great speaker. I'm a worker. I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about me and things that I've done since I've taken office, if y'all bear with me. Name's David Thompson. My wife, Suzanne, and I have been married 42 years. I graduated Monroe Area High School in 1973. Went to college at a junior college, Middle Georgia College, and then over at the university, and I, unfortunately, am a college dropout. I was going to law school and had a change of heart. So I've worked many different fields, from farming to development and building, banking, all sorts of fields, and I have a knack for finance. And I also have a knack for having a cocktail in the evening and complaining about the government, and my business buddies talked me into this adventure that I'm into. So with that being said, I made one pledge. God's been good to me. I have been successful in my endeavors. I made a pledge to donate my salary to the charities of Walton County. And with that being said, I got my last pay stub here. Well, I did have it. There it is. To date. Now, I let them take out my taxes. I'm not going to donate those, but to date, I've donated $42,601.80, and that's 10 months into this adventure I've taken on. The rest has gone to the federal government, state government, and all the other deductions. I do let them reimburse me mileage. I use my own vehicle, and that's based on the IRS mileage funds. Prior to announcing the run, I'd gone over the audits of Walton County, and there were unassigned and dormant accounts in the audit. First week in office, we started researching those, ended up $5,247,564 was sitting in accounts, unassigned, for as long as 14 years. And we went through those. The first one was $1,694,000 in a dormant account that's been there since 2007. When I asked, what's this money sitting here for? We don't know. I'm sorry, I'm a financial man. You're supposed to know where every dollar's going and what it's there for. The next one, to my surprise, was $3,534,000. It was dormant since 2008. Of that $3.5 million, the whole thing was in the Walton County Water and Sewer Department division, but $500,000 was the Board of Commissioners. And we researched it and proved it and got it all back. And there was an old Splosh account been sitting there since the 90s that had $19,232. And I said, you know, this should be closed out. Well, anyway, we found out $10,562 went to Good Hope and $8,600 went to Jersey, and we closed it out. The audits that are performed on the county is mandated by the state, but it's a general audit, and with stuff like this happening, I was able to convince the board into Walton County's first internal department audits. So we've started and we've finished Parks and Rec, facilities, roads and bridges, water and sewer. We're in the process of winding up right now on 911, fire department, animal control, elections, and EMS. And the reason for this, there's redundancy in government between the departments. We can cut that out once it's documented. And there's inefficiencies in how we relate to municipalities or to other jurisdictions. So we're getting documentation on what can be done to make us more efficient and make us run more cost effective. I've been involved since I came into office in multiple building and development code upgrades. We haven't upgraded our codes in some time. We've just changed for subdivisions a 2,000 square foot minimum up from the 1,600, 2,200 square feet if it's a two-story. We've changed roof pitch to a 612 minimum. We're trying to have attractive subdivisions. We've done away with vinyl siding in those subdivisions, and we've addressed the short-term rentals. We have several subdivisions in the county, and it's becoming a problem of people buying a house on a lake in a subdivision and leasing it out for weekend parties. I think it's called R&B, Air R&B, or what, B&B. And it's upsetting the single-family environment in these neighborhoods. So we're addressing that, and we adopted, finally, a noise ordinance for the county. I've been involved in, we've got the Annex 1 old building there next to the courthouse. We're remodeling it. We're going to move public defenders in it. And the old jail that they're in was the old Franklin Thornton residence when he was here and acted as jail. We're going to have that as part of the Monroe Museum network. It's a very attractive old building. I stopped the demolition, the building behind our historic courthouse where the Development Authority and Chamber was in it. It was on the books to be tore down. And I asked why, and oh, the plumbing's bad. Well, being a builder, we can fix plumbing. The building is a very good building. They were going to build back a $7.8 million two-story historic-looking building with no parking for it. So I stopped that. We're remodeling that building. We're going to have less than $500,000 in it, and Shane Short is excited. It's going to be a very good-looking building. So I feel like I saved us $6.2 million there. We also have Criswell Park Pavilion. It's been there 20 years, huge. Everybody's been there. If they belong to Walton EMC, where they have get-togethers and stuff, and the floor was dirt, sawdust, dusty, nasty. Well, it's 12,600 square feet. It's a nice poured concrete floor for meetings and functions now. And we're also going to be locating the extension service to Criswell Park. We're going to build them a building, vacate them out of the old National Bank building in downtown Monroe. It's the marble building, if you're familiar with it. It was a National Bank at one time, has a full basement. That building and the one behind it, the county owns it, USDA's in, and we're not renewing USDA's lease. We're going to sell those buildings back to private investors, to the public. We'll have a public auction. We'll get them appraised and start the auction off. Those two buildings, with the way Monroe is growing downtown, would be prime real estate, and it'll get it back producing taxes. The community center, Social Circle, is 55% complete. It's moving slow. The splash park at Between, we got open this year. There will be pickleball courts. They'll be doing those this winter. I inherited that. The builder was of low quality, and we ended up in a dispute, and I handled the mediation on that. They were wanting $200,000, and we settled for $40,000. So I've been there and done that. Made an application and hired lobbyists, which I caught flack from the Monroe crowd, paying lobbyists $17,500 a month. We have them in Washington, D.C. and the state of Georgia. I have an application that's been accepted looking at the Hard Labor Creek water treatment plant. We've built a reservoir here in Walton County, and it's a great fishing lake. Everybody's been fishing in it, but we've yet to drink a drop of water out of it. So we have a $115.5 million application for infrastructure funds, and we're getting very positive remarks back from the state of Georgia. Walton County needs this water up and productive. We maxed out at Cornish Creek twice this past year, and this has been a wet year. And we had to scramble on by from Gwinnett and Monroe. So that, along with the transmission lines in Walton County, we have not addressed the business end of our water and sewer department for multiple years. I inherited over $30 million of infrastructure that needs to be done. And I asked, why haven't we started doing this? Well, we don't know how to pay for it. I've showed them how we're going to pay for it. So, and that's part, if you're on our system, you're going to get a $15.25 increase on your monthly water bill. Makes it $39, your basic water bill. We were way behind on other utilities in what we were charging. I just got approved twice. No government's done a pay raise twice in 1 year. Our employees had not received a pay raise in 4 years when I came into office. So immediately in July, I got the board with a new budget coming in to approve a 3.75 across the board pay raise. I felt like that was not enough. If you're out there in the business world and you see the signs on the side of the road, the hiring bonuses, the minimum pay, we have a hiring problem right now. And I was noticing county employees giving notices going to the private sector or going to other counties. So we gave the 3.75, and I engaged a study of our pay raise. Well, lo and behold, the 3.75 was nowhere close to getting us where we needed to be. So we did another 6.75% on average pay raise, but this time it was not across the board. It was based on the position, based on the job description that they're doing, and years served with the county. My morale in the county employees is ecstatic. because they were told I was some kind of ogre that was going to come in and do away with everyone there. And I am a conservative. I mean, I pinch every penny I can, but you pay for what you get. And if you don't take care of your employees, then you're going downhill rapidly. Getting back, all counties hire major accountants. We have Malden and Jenkins. I've dealt with them in the bank audits and stuff. They're top-notch auditors. But Walton County had, in their water and sewer department, a contingency item that even before I talked about running for office, I had gone to budget meetings and questioned. It was over $2 million contingency, and it showed up year after year. Well, I finally got in office, and I wanted to print out how this contingency is being spent. It wasn't being spent. Ended up, it was phantom accounting. There was no fraud. The previous financial director for the county made a huge error, which should not have happened, in that the bond payment Oconee County was making on their part of Hard Labor Creek Reservoir was reported as income in our water and sewer department. Well, when you get down to the bottom line, you don't zero out. So a contingency was made to offset that income. Took me 3 months to figure that one out, but we're getting it straightened out. And thank God I don't get to send anybody to federal prison. But I, at one time, thought I had a smoking gun, but it turned out not. The feds paid us $9.1 million in May, and it could be used for several different COVID-related items or water or sewer improvements. And myself and the board, with my recommendation of this $30 million that needed to be done in our water and sewer department, we applied that to those projects. We'll be getting another $9.1 million May of next year, and it's going the same place. We have customers that get low water pressure. We got to catch up. The building is going ecstatic, and if we can't keep up with it, we need to get out of the water business. So we're going to catch up. We just got our tentative audit of the budget that closed out June 30th. Half of that was me, half of it was previous administration. January 1, I met with all department heads. One thing that bothers me about budgeting in our government, you start off with what was budgeted last year and you add to it, even if there's special items in there. And if you don't spend it, you don't get it back the next year. So we had a heart-to-heart talk. And it looks like I'm going to back out the sales tax, extra sales tax. I'm going to back out the JDA contribution to the county. Looks like $12 million we're putting back in the general fund that was not spent out of last year's budget. Now, $6 million of that was salaries of deputies and jail that we couldn't fill. It's hard to hire. But the other $6 million was through attrition and these employees working toward these pay raises, showing us where we could save money. So I'm excited about this next year. They're already talking about other ways to save money for the county, and that doesn't hurt anyone. We had 2 or 3 contractors working for the county that opened bill when I came into office. And it was, you just do the work and send us a bill. I've stopped that. We have them under contract or they bid now, everything. And that's it, and I'll answer any questions. I've been busy. I'm a workaholic. I love to crunch numbers. And Ray, you're a great politician as well as the others we heard tonight. You know how to relate to the public. I hurt people's feelings. You ask me something, I'm going to tell you what I think and how it is. I'm sorry. And I'm in a very special position in this position. I don't care. I'm going to do what's right for the county, period. And if you don't like it, then, you know, I'll be gone pretty soon anyway. So, any questions from anyone? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I can't hear you either. I'm sorry.
Jane Williams, 220 Tom Lee Fuller Drive, right here in Loganville. So you found all this money, and I see where it's been applied to Monroe, Georgia, Social Circle. Do we have any coming here to Loganville?
It was not applied to Social Circle. The money that was found, the 1.6 million, was the Board of Commissioners. It went back into the general fund of the Board of Commissioners. The 3.5 million was Walton County Water and Sewer Department, of which 500,000 was the BOC. Funds, government funds are dedicated and allotted for certain projects and budgeted for. The 1.6 million turned out to be the county borrowed $20 million from the state of Georgia. They had to set up a special account to pay that debt back. Well, they paid it back and left 1.6 million in the account and forgot about it.
Okay.
Loganville gets, and along with the other cities, they get the property taxes from their millage rate within their city. The county does do intergovernmental agreements with the different cities, like we help the city of Monroe pave streets. We help Social Circle repair vehicles. Mayor, you can help me out. What do we help y'all do? We got the Parks and Recs here in the city.
Roads and roads.
And we built a couple buildings and donated them to the city of Loganville.
That's right.
And
The senior center.
yes. And we also help with the library. And the funds that are coming in, I happen to come in at a very good time. Our economy is booming. Every month, I have department head meetings once every quarter now instead of every month. I don't want to pull them away from their work to sit there and tell me what they can shoot me an email and tell me about. But the water department and the code department are breaking records every month. And meters, permits, the speculation in the county, the JDA just sold the last of Stanton Springs earlier this year it's called Baymere. It's another internet-type company. They put together a mega site down there that has interest. Georgia is a hot spot for business investment, and Walton County's coming to its time. And y'all see it here from Gwinnett spillover. And there's good investment and good building, and then there's poor investment. And we in the county, I will not support, y'all have sewer and that's fine, but I will not support countywide sewer system. That would make us DeKalb or Gwinnett overnight. What's building in the county is 1 2-acre lots. There are some PUD developments where they set aside green space and have the half-acre lots, and that's fine. But COVID lit a fire under Walton County, people fleeing the crowds, wanting a little space. We've seen more families move in to Walton County on the 3-acre, the 4-acre, where they can have a garden. People, Boss Brothers will tell you, they've sold more seed and plants in the last 2 years than they sold at any time. And being the old farmer, I hate to say it, but the city transplants, they've moved to the country, they have a beautiful garden, and they get up the next morning, and where'd it go? We have deer here too, so, you know, they eat it up.
So, okay, that's great. I guess for all of the funds, you know, I think it's great what you've done. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, because the last time I was at a council meeting, we were having trouble with, you know, having funds for parks that we have here in Loganville. And you were talking about roads being repaired. Well, I know up here at Boss Road, it's road on one end and drive on the other end. And they had the big planks that were in the road, but they wasn't even covering the holes that are in the road. So now I see that those have been taken up, but the holes are still there. So we need some roads repair. We need some funds for the park over here at Gaither Park. And I know we said there was no funds, but I'm trying to figure out. Now, we got some funds coming in. I want to make sure that if at all possible, we can get funds for the Gaither Park, we can get some road funds, and I don't know if you mentioned, but the courthouse in Monroe, there's supposed to be like a tennis court or something down there, and it's like no lighting, it's dark. I know because my niece went to try to play tennis. And
Where is this at?
it's in Monroe near the courthouse, the new courthouse.
Oh, it might be Hammond Park.
Hammond, it is Hammond.
That's
Yeah.
the city of Monroe
That's the
Park.
city
See, the different park systems, So Circle has their park system. City of Loganville has
That's right.
some parks, and then Walton County has parks all over the county. It just so happens Meridian is in the city limits, and that's the Walton County park. I don't know about the road and the hole, but I get those calls all the time, and we patch them as fast as we can. The other thing I didn't mention was the criminal justice complex, the public safety complex, which I've been raked over the coals by the city of Monroe people. We have a jail facility here that was last added on to in 2006, and that addition was done by an architect that had never designed a jail in his life. Because he was a local architect, he was allowed to do it. We have 13 blind spots in that addition. It's a 376-bed facility. This morning, the count was 554. They're on cots and mattresses on the floors. And it is critical that we build a new facility. We need to get up with the times. The design that we're building will have the drug rehab, it'll have the mental illness section, it'll even have a transgender section. I didn't think I'd be saying that in a public meeting, but it will be. It's going to be roughly $129 million. We're going to have to borrow that. That doesn't qualify under infrastructure. I'm going to have to, I'm trying to get the medical under a medical grant program because medical in these facilities is imperative. Unfortunately, and it's, you know, you think of gangers being the drug problems and stuff. It's not. It's our children. It's white collar. The fentanyl, the crystal meth, the other drugs are rampant. Walton County as well as across the nation. And it's part of the territory. And offering help and good rehab within a facility is those that want it. Once they want it, they need to be able to have accessibility to it. But it's a big thing that I've taken on. We have the $25 million that was raised under the splosh for the jail before, and I'm going to have to borrow, you know, $100 million. And fortunately, interest rates are at all-time lows, And I'm trying to tie that down before we even break ground. Even if it sits in the bank for 6 months and I pay interest for 6 months, I believe we'll be money ahead. Inflation, we all see it. It's already started with gas, milk, and other stuff. And I'm talking too long, aren't I, Ray? I'll shut up.
Chairman, thank you so much for being here. It's been a joy working with you at times, but
And
thank
nice
you.
to meet all y'all. And I'm in the phone book, as they say. I'm on the internet. If you need me, reach out. I do return calls.
He does.
Thank you.
He does. Thank you. All right, now we're gonna move right along. Our, you notice we got the library. Oh, you want to ask a question? Can you? Okay. Okay. That's it. Okay. Hey, excuse me, David, can you take that conversation right here to the side so we could keep going? Thank you, Chairman. Talk about it. Yes, thank you. All right. I guess outside, they're going outside. Okay. So, we're gonna go ahead and move right along. We got the library, and we got the chairperson, chairwoman, Lisa Luttrell is going to give us an update.
I want to thank the mayor and the council, and I'm short, so I need to move this, and the citizens for allowing us time to bring an update regarding the library board's progress. I'd also like to thank David and Avnika, I said it right, from McMillan, Pasden, and Smith Architecture, and also Nate Rawl, Director of Planning and Construction with Georgia Public Library Service, for being here. I also want to congratulate our new mayor-elect, our newly elected and our re-elected council members. Most of all, though, we would like to offer our condolences to the family and loved ones of Bill Jones. Bill was a highly respected part of our community, and he will be dearly missed. As discussed at the June 2021 council meeting, the library board has procured a property appraisal and a feasibility report in reference to the O'Kelly Memorial Library. We have provided copies of these reports to the mayor, council, and city manager. Fellow library trustee Dana Russell will present this report in just a few moments, detailing the structural needs of our city library. Before he addresses the report, I'd like to quickly share with all of you why the board believes, as told by citizens and personally witnessed, why we as a city need a larger, updated library. Homeschool families need a place to gather, share resources, learn, and socialize. Families need a place to spend their summers without having to pay entrance fees to an expensive animal or theme park. People of all ages need a green space to enjoy programs, events, and for relaxation. Entrepreneurs need a place where a staff member can help him or her complete an application for a business license. Families, in whatever form they may come, who have been placed in a difficult situation beyond their control, need a place where they can access free Wi-Fi, borrow movies, books, laptops, tablets, hotspots, and so much more, because they do not have the current financial means to pay for these vital resources. Our seniors need a place where they feel welcome to meet and connect with friends without having to buy an expensive meal at a restaurant in order to do so. Our teens need a safe place where they can gather for study groups and dual enrollment studies, because the school media centers do not have room to accommodate them and are not open in the evenings, weekends, or summer. I'm short, I told you that. Thank you, Skip. You made me lose my place, though. We need a place to honor the past with a proper genealogy room that can be used not only to house and protect historical publications, but also accommodate local and visiting researchers. There's also a large number of our 14,000-plus citizens who still prefer to hold a bound book in their hands. Circulation statistics show that this has remained a consistent need. To address the whispers I've personally heard in this room, if so many people want a new library, then where are they? Those people are living right here in our community. They have family responsibilities or work that may keep them from attending a late night or early morning meeting. They are visually impaired residents who cannot drive at night, or those who do not own a vehicle at all. Residents are challenged in many ways, but their absence at a meeting does not mean they don't want or support a new library for our community. Our door counts and circulation statistics show how important O'Kelly Memorial Library is and has always been to our citizens. A better question to ask is, who are the people in our city that would most benefit from a new, updated, safer, and larger facility in downtown Loganville? The answer's simple: we all do. These people are your friends, your family, and your neighbors. They are parents or guardians with children in search of educational and engaging programming and resources outside of the classroom. They are young people looking for a safe space to read or gather with friends. They are adults using public computers to search for employment, start a new business, or complete forms and applications. They are seniors needing assistive technologies, homebound book delivery, or large print materials. They are patrons looking to trace their family history or conduct genealogy research. They are the people living paycheck to paycheck, or who live on a fixed income and need the library for computer access because they can't afford internet at home. They are regular citizens looking to save money by checking out books, movies, laptops, ebooks, and audiobooks for free instead of buying these materials. Some patrons come regularly to the library to read the Walton Tribune, which is also freely available. When one member of our community benefits from the library, the entire community reaps those rewards. O'Kelly Memorial Library patrons are varied and utilize the library at different times during the day for very different reasons. Seniors may visit the library in the morning while running errands before it gets too busy to safely enter and exit the library, or because they are unable to safely drive at night. Homeschool groups visit the library for field trips and to get books and attend story times and programs. Tutors and their pupils visit the library after school and in the evenings to make use of the study room and library resources to support their extended learning. Job seekers utilize the public computers during the day to fill out applications or work on a resume. They may also take online courses about starting a small business for free. At all hours of the day, one can sit in the library parking lot and see a wide range of people with very different needs come and go throughout business hours. Some of these patrons are on foot or riding a bike. Just because these patrons are not seen or are not vocal about their needs and wants does not mean the library is not vitally important to their lives. Compelling evidence of this need was demonstrated when COVID necessitated the shuttering of library doors across the state of Georgia. Our staff worked tirelessly to reimagine library service and meet the needs of the Loganville community with curbside service, selector service, computer appointments, and the Play Student Card, which gives every child in Walton County a public library card, and a technology lending program that provided computers and hotspots to those without internet or access or a device at home. Libraries are ever evolving and definitely not obsolete. There's a reason the United States alone has more than 17,000 libraries, with 417 of these located in Georgia. In fact, Georgia proudly boasts a library in every single county in our state. How lucky are we that Walton County has 4 amazing libraries serving its almost 100,000 residents. Modern and updated libraries are necessary for a city who desires to serve her citizens. And I don't have this written down, but as a personal note, I was in the library for about 10 minutes the other day. In that 10 minutes, I saw a mom come in with her daughter. Their computer had broken at home. Her daughter had to turn in an assignment. They were able to use the computers at O'Kelly to do that. I saw an elementary age school student being tutored. And if you've been in O'Kelly Memorial Library, I hope you have, you see that the children's area is very small, it's very open. The child was very distracted. He was looking around, not paying attention, because he had to be out in the open, because we didn't have an open tutoring room. The one we had was being used. That mother of that child was hanging out in the children's area because she had nowhere else to go, because we don't have a separate area for that mom to go. A mom was at the front desk with her 3 children and was so excited that she didn't have to worry about them losing their library cards, because they can use their lunch number to check out library books at O'Kelly Memorial. And just today, when I was in there for a few minutes, every single computer in O'Kelly was being used except for one. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dana. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to talk to you tonight. I'm going to briefly go over a report that was recently provided to the Board of Trustees, and I'll certainly go into more in depth where you might want to do that, but this is probably the drier portion of what we have to say tonight, but some of us like numbers. And the board engaged a consultant who is actually a professional library architecture consultant from McMillan, Pazdan, and Smith. And we asked them to do 3 things essentially. One was to take stock of the library in terms of the physical condition and the capacity and capabilities that the current library has, to take a look at what the ideal library for Loganville would need to look like based on populations and size and all of those sorts of things. And then to look at the capability of the existing library to meet those needs. And if not possible, to look at what would be needed in the way of a new library to meet those needs. So here are some shots that were taken when the consultants visited the library, I guess, in August. And you can see there are some physical issues with deterioration of the exterior. The construction was stucco on foam board, and there's been some moisture that's gotten up in there and rotted the foam board. As you all know, there's significant challenges with programming areas outside. We hold children's programming between the north end of the library and Highway 78, very close to the highway, not a lot of room for children there. But you also know how busy it is around the library, and as Lisa mentioned, it's very hard to get in and or out of there at some times of the day. We also understand that there at some point will be construction to convert Highway 20 south into a 4-lane divided highway. That would, I think, obviously take some right-of-way from the library. We're not exactly sure how much that would be, but it would certainly reduce the capability of the library, make it even more challenging to get in and out. Then looking at existing floor plans, there is no real dedicated programming space within the library. There is a multi-purpose room that's utilized and dedicated for computers, and in addition to existing programs such as computer classes, chess club, quilting club. So all those things are occurring in that one room. Our shelving is outdated and is barely adequate to hold the collection. I'm told that the very high shelving, I think it's probably about 7 feet tall, is not ADA compliant, is certainly not up to the standards of libraries of today, and is in fact a potential danger. We have a very small workroom for 4 employees to work on their programming and bringing books in and out as they're checked back in. We don't have a dedicated young adult space, which we think is very important for communities like ours. Bathrooms are not ADA compliant, and we have a very small storage room. Just to make a couple of other notations here, there is no dedicated meeting or study space. Actually, there are very small ones but nothing that would accommodate more than 4 to 6 people. So there's no large meetings that are capable there. This is probably the most important page. So in looking at what Loganville should have in the way of a library, the consultants that approached it by looking at the service area of the O'Kelly Library, and it's not just the citizens of the city. Obviously, people from outside the city come to O'Kelly Library and look to it as a provider, and they are part of its service area. In identifying the number of people that would cover, we found that Walton County a few years ago, when they were looking at implementing impact funds, did a very in-depth study of the county and where impacts are felt, and determined that the Loganville area represented about 32.86%, or about 32,000 individuals. And so in the library field, there is a generally accepted and well-accepted standard for the size of a library based on the population it serves. That standard was developed by the American Library Association and has been adopted by the state of Georgia Public Library Service as a measure for designing a future library. And that provides for 6/10 of 1 foot, or 0.6 of a foot for each individual served. So based on the 32,000 individuals identified as in the service area, our current library that would be adequate to serve today would be 19,000 square feet. Now, if we're planning for the future, in 2041, 20 years from now, the assumption was that the O'Kelly service area would continue to grow at a rate of 14% for each decade. And so that by that time, the current service area would include 41,488 individuals, and based on the 0.6 standard, we would require a library of just under 25,000 square feet. Now, I would note that 14% is the growth rate for the county as a whole. We all know the Loganville area grew more than that over the past 10 years, and so I think this is a fairly conservative projection of the service area. Let's see. So based on those numbers, we also took a look at the collection, and collection serving that number of people would probably need to be about 20% larger than ours. And so we've got a projection of adding 20% to each piece of the collection. Then the consultants looked at that 24,000 square feet and had conversations with the Board of Trustees and others to talk about what's going on in Loganville and what kinds of spaces would be needed. And so there was a breakout of how the 24,000 square feet would be allocated. The board felt like that was a big number. And there are a lot of assumptions into where the city's going to be in 20 years, and wanted to provide an alternative that might be, in some minds, more reasonable, in other minds, a first step. And so we asked the consultants to prepare a projection for a library of 15,000 square feet. So what we have, let me first back up and say that in taking a look at what we have now, this is a layout of the current library area. And as you know, the parcel on the left was acquired in the early 2000s, I think, to provide additional parking space. And that was put together, and then you can see there's a detention pond right there in the corner of the parking areas. And my understanding is that when these parking spaces were put in, the construction had to be halted temporarily because it was determined that a good portion of that lot is wetlands, federally protected wetlands, and so really cannot be developed at all. So at the time this was being put together, we didn't know that, and so the consultant put together a program for the size of the footprint that a 24,000 square foot facility would require. And actually here, you can see it's about 4 1/4 acres of property with all the parking and the programmatic spaces. And again, this is for the 24,000 square feet. They came back with projections for the collection to remain stable and a reduction of the programmatic areas to the 15,000 square feet that we asked for. This is a cost estimate, projected cost estimate of renovation of the existing facility, construction of a 24,000 square foot facility, and then construction of the 15,000 square foot facility. The first column of figures actually is kind of a non-starter because we know now that that addition onto the existing library is not really feasible. It is just really crammed in there. The second at 24,000 feet is for information, and the third at 15,000 square feet is what our current vision is. And you can see that the total for that is $7.7 million. And we'll show a breakdown of that just a minute in larger font so y'all can see what's going on here. So this is an alternate way of looking at the construction costs of a 15,000 square feet facility. This is the formula that the state uses when they're evaluating a grant request. They project the costs of library construction at $250 a square foot, and then 43% of that for equipment, supplies, furniture, fees, etc. And in this case, for a total projected cost of $5.3 million. So if you look at the two cost estimates, the consultant estimate was strictly for construction about $340 per square foot for a total construction cost of $5.1 million. And you can see how that compares to the state's projection of $250 a square foot and $3.7 million total construction. The consultant construction estimate includes 25% of that amount for design and construction contingencies. We don't believe that the state estimate includes that. And then we have a very comparable number for furniture, fixtures, and equipment and professional services associated with construction. And that, again, comes up to those two total projected costs. Now, obviously, there's a big difference between those. It comes into how you design the library, what levels of fit and finish you include, and all kinds of things like that, and obviously contingencies. And so we wanted to show you where we thought funding for this might come from. And so on the right, again, we have the state projection of a construction cost of $5.3 million, and on the left, the consultant cost of $7.7 million. We actually conducted a market assessment of the current property, and that came back with a value of about $1.4 million. So we think that could be used as a source of funding for construction of the new library. The library board has been in discussions with a consultant regarding fundraising for this project. This consultant actually did work for the YMCA board and is helping them raise the $15 million that they've committed to raising for that project. And he has indicated that $2 million is a pretty reasonable level for us to commit to in terms of private fundraising. The state grant, we've always talked about that being $2 million. The actual maximum in the state's policy is $3 million. So if we had a budget of $7.7 million, we could theoretically ask the state for a grant of $3 million rather than $2 million. Now, obviously, we don't know where that was good, what would happen to that, and I'm sure we can't get any guarantees tonight, but that's certainly a possibility. So between the two scenarios, the additional funding required is between $0 and about $1.5 million. And so we think that it would be appropriate for whatever funding commitment is required there for the city and the county to make a commitment on that. I think that rather than say, we're going to build a facility that's going to cost $250 a square foot or $340 a square foot, we come up with a funding commitment for a new library that's somewhere around those projections, and then build to what we have budget for. I think that there is room for, being budget conscious with construction of a library. But I think it would be a good next step for the decision makers on those funding sources to come together and discuss how much they're willing to commit to a library project, because before we can actually resubmit our application to the state, we have to have tangible commitments from our funders. And we'd really like to be able to get those in place. Lisa's going to come back up, and we're going to try to answer any questions you all might have. And obviously, we'll call on our consultants or Mr. Rawl to help us out as necessary. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I remembered this time. Does anybody have any questions? Skip?
For the audience's benefit, would you tell them where you stand today, where you would envision a library to be located?
I think that's more of a fair question for the city council.
I agree.
Because it's the city's library, it's the city's land, and that would be a decision that you guys would need to make. Of course, we'd love some input, but that's your decision to make for your city.
I personally think, and I'm obviously not speaking for the board or
That's all
Lisa, that I think a city like Loganville should have I don't want to call it a government compound, but it should have an area that is civic related. And so I think it would be very good to have a library close to City Hall, other city-owned facilities that serve as event centers and meeting places and so forth. So, obviously, I think we don't want to take places that have a higher and better purpose, possibly for retail or commercial development. But we think there is an appropriate place close to the government center, or at least I do.
I have some questions.
If there are numbers questions, please just go ahead and look at Dana.
Well, so on this last page, you said the state grant said 2, but we could maybe ask for 3. Can we ask for 3? I mean, I guess we can ask for anything, but it's up to 3. Are we still in purgatory? Yes. Okay.
It's fourth ring.
That's all right. And when do we have to have our grant back together? When do we need commitment for funding by?
The next General Assembly,
Which
the
is?
next session, which would start in January.
Okay. And
I mean, ideally, yes, but
and
certainly
when-
by the end.
when, you talked to the YMCA consultant and they said the board would commit to 2 million, is that part of the package? Like, let's say that you said 2 million and the city and the county said 1.5. Is that enough of a commitment to get us through? Does the library commitment, the board commitment count?
I believe there is on the application a line item for what kind of fundraising is committed to.
Okay,
And then the other lines requires to say who has committed to funding and where is that money.
okay, okay. It's like a promise, like an IOU.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has any library ever gotten a $3 million grant?
Yes.
Library and budget, sounds good to me.
One time's precedent, right?
We have a precedent.
2 times is a trend.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
Go,
not
go.
done, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
I got more questions. So in here, there was some sort of calculation, and I asked you about it already, but there was a calculation of I think it was 1 parking space per 100 feet. And did the consultants come up with that number, or it's a standard accepted
Yeah.
number?
I'll ask them to commit to that, but I believe it's probably industry standard for libraries or for,
It's for general landfill.
Okay.
And that was simply just to understand how much space we would need to account for parking and to do a test fit on the existing lot to see if the addition to the existing building could even be possible with the amount of parking we have to add on to that. But, that is done more specifically when we get into the planning process. However, we use it as an estimate initially.
I guess it seemed high to me to potentially have 200 parking places for a 15,000 square foot building. It just seemed high. I didn't know if that was a hard and fast. At some point, do we get what a library ratio is versus just general land planning?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes we have a conservative estimate initially, since some of the spaces that we had listed in that program summary include meeting room spaces capable of holding maybe 100 people at one time.
I got it. It's not just library patrons.
Right.
Got it. I mean, it is, but not just somebody checking out a book.
Right.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay. That's all I had. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Location, I know Skip brought this up. Me and Stacy have talked about a potential location that might be beneficial for what it's worth, and that to me would be right, that if it's feasible, we'll have to get the architects out there to see if it's, but right behind the rock gym, that area right close to the gym,
Yeah.
right in that space right there. Any opinions on that from the board or Stacy or Mr. Rawls, about location?
We think that would be a great space. It would be right near City Hall, it'd be near the Rock Gym. We could have sidewalks leading up to Main Street, so it could be part of a walkable downtown. So no, that would be a great space.
And I think it potentially allows for expansion, along the behind, backside of the elementary school, City Hall, where the gym is, back to the playground or even into the field.
Is that something that you guys have looked at? Does it fit the square footage and for what you guys are looking for?
We can, yeah.
I'm not sure that anything has been done in depth on that, but I think it would be good to do that. And, a lot of it depends on the square footage of the library, but,
All right,
I think the word used was feasible. It's definitely feasible.
it's feasible. Okay, thanks. All right.
I have another one. I think
Go
Liz
ahead.
got one. Go ahead.
Yeah. When you were saying that you were thinking it would take about 4.25 acres is that just for the library itself, or is that includes everything? Parking, the
Yes.
library, all of that?
That's everything.
Okay, that's
Including outside programmatic area.
Okay.
So I noticed that in the last slide about the funding for construction, you've got 1.4 million proceeds for the sale of the property, but you don't have the purchase of property, why?
Well, you want to, I'm sorry.
There would be no purchase of property. It's the city library, which sits on city-owned land. So basically, if I've heard the word gift being used, if there was a gift, the city would be gifting it to themselves.
Right, but it seems to me that the sale of the existing property of 1.4 million would be a gift as well.
I agree.
Well, I mean, that's value that is dedicated to the library now.
Right.
And so if there are proceeds from that value, then the question is, do we continue to put that value or that equity into the library? Or do
Right.
we spend it somewhere else?
Right.
And the property is owned by the city, so that, the analysis is that the property for the future library would be owned by the city already.
Right, I just think that we're short the land cost in this proposal.
If-
The
if
value
it-
of the land cost is not here. The sale is here, but not the,
Well, this is strictly a cash
Right.
analysis. There wouldn't have to be a land purchase if it was city-owned property. I mean, you might be able to capture the foregone revenues from the sale of that property. We don't know what that would be because we don't know where it would be or how much that property would cost.
Danny, you at one time mentioned that there were the deeds to that property might be in question. Is that still true?
It's been turned to a real estate attorney who has it now, so I don't want to say something that was
Okay.
too premature.
Okay.
I can tell you guys put a lot of work into this. This is good stuff. My question is there's a real need here for our clubs. I don't know if it's the Rotary Club. I know the Women's Club. We're always looking for somewhere to have a meeting, and hopefully have a meeting that doesn't charge us anything. Is there meeting space built into the design?
Yeah, I think it's less than the 15,000 square foot version than in the 24,000, but it's in the list. I don't even know what page number that is. I can't see it.
So that would be available for the Historical Society, whatever club it is, to use the room?
There's also an enlarged genealogy room included
Yep,
in here.
okay, at no charge?
Yeah. Oh, would that charge? Is that what you asked?
At no charge?
Oh.
No charge.
Well, there isn't any charge to use the library facility for whatever they provide, other than maybe late fees if you take out books and don't turn them back in on time. Is that correct?
Copies.
Anybody else? Stacy, did you wanted to say a few words, or Mr. Rawls? No? All right. Stacy, Executive Director's here, Mr. Rawls, and I'd like to also acknowledge a few board members. Ms. Terry's here, Paul Smith is in the back, Ruth Cookwick is there, and am I missing anybody? No? All right, we got some board members here from the library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. I don't know who you are.
It's my
Sorry.
first time.
First time. What's your name?
Hello, council. My name is Carrie Cowles Assam, and I'm a resident of the city of Loganville, and I'm a mother of 5 young children. So I wanted to come here today to tell you about what libraries mean to me and how they've impacted my life. But first, I'd like to open with a quote. Public libraries level the playing field, providing equal access to information and creating equal opportunities to learn and grow. Libraries play a critical role in building community by providing spaces for people to gather and interact. That's Lisa Rosenblum. You see, my love for libraries started 12 years ago when I attended my first lap sit program with my twin babies. There was several young mothers sitting on the floor in a circle with our babies in our lap and a librarian reading books to them. This simple concept provided me with a free group to attend, a group that provided community to new parents looking for ways to interact with other new parents with their babies in tow. Since then, the library has played an important role in my life and the lives of my children. After lap sit classes, my children graduated to toddler classes, then summer reading challenges, and then later a place for our homeschool groups to meet, and a great resource for me to teach my children without having to break my bank on homeschool curriculum. I borrowed books like The Boxcar Children, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Charlotte's Web. Although my kids are not currently homeschooled, I know that Walton County has a large homeschooling population. I can't be sure of the exact number, but the Walton County Homeschool Facebook group is nearing 1,000 members. And I can be sure of one thing. There is no room in our current library for homeschooling groups. There are no meetups, there are no activities, and the librarians are not reading aloud to children at our library. There simply isn't room. I know that the people of this city tend to be fiscally conservative. I'm one of them. After all, you quickly learn to be savvy when you have 5 children. But some things are too important not to budget for. You see, a growing city without a functional library is like a family without health care or a nutritional diet. Neither will thrive. You see, I know that the costs of low literacy rates add up to big money for taxpayers. Low literacy is directly linked to high school dropouts, poor health, incarceration rates, and living in poverty. Currently, the Georgia Literacy Commission reports that 2/3 of Georgia's 3rd graders are not reading at grade level. On a local level, I know that the primary goal at Sharon Elementary School this year is to improve literacy rates. This is not just a Georgia problem. This is a Walton County problem as well. Did you know that this summer, our Walton County Parks and Rec Department offered a summer reading program for young students and charged parents $50 a week? While I am glad to see that the emphasis is being placed on literacy, I can't help but wonder what options would have been available if we had more space in our public library. I'm here today to ask you to seriously consider the possibility of a new library that can serve our growing city adequately. One that is large enough for library circles, homeschool groups, a plethora of classic literature. Not just any new library that is pushed out of the way, but the best library in all of Walton County. The library where everyone will want to be. Let's put it smack in the center of Main Street and give it a place of pride, showing how the citizens of Loganville value knowledge and community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I got one, you're pointing something. You're pointing?
Hello, my name is Mark Kane. We attended the meeting here in the Rock Gym. And one of the biggest questions with this presentation is who's going to own the building and who's going to maintain the building? Because the current library has issues now. Is the city going to own the building, or is the library system going to own the building, and who's going to be responsible for the upkeep?
Okay. Somebody want to ask?
The city will own the building, the city will own the land the building sits on, and the city will ultimately be responsible for the maintenance of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I got one more real quick proclamation here, and then we'll go into our department reports. National Injury Prevention Day 2021. That November 18th is National Injury Prevention Day in Loganville, whereas injuries are leading cause of death and disability to U.S. children ages 1 to 18, and whereas injuries are a major concern to the city of Loganville, Piedmont Walton Hospital, and whereas state agencies, community organizations, and other partners are crucial in reducing injuries and deaths by promoting safe practices for residents of all ages, and whereas many of these injuries and deaths are available through the use of injury prevention, education, and equipment, and the implementation of strong legislation, and whereas the city of Loganville is committed to creating an environment contributing to and supporting the safety and well-being of our residents and visitors, and whereas National Injury Prevention Day raises awareness and promotes efforts to reduce injuries among children, the city of Loganville commends Piedmont Walton Hospital and all involved in their endeavor to protect our community from preventable injuries every day. Now, therefore, I, Ray Martinez, Mayor of Loganville, do hereby proclaim November 18th as National Injury Prevention Day and call upon the residents of Loganville to join with me in the observation of this important day and commend the efforts of Piedmont Walton Hospital and advocacy organizations that work to bring awareness to the public about ways to reduce the risk of injuries across the nation. Ray Martinez, Mayor. So that's my proclamation for National Injury Prevention Day 2021. All right, now we're coming down to committee/department reports. Planning and Development, Chairwoman Lisa Newberry.
Thank you, Mayor. We had no one submit any applications, so we have no cases to hear tonight.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. We're coming down to Finance/Economic Development, Chairwoman Ann Hutzinger.
Mr. Mayor, I have no actionable items
All
tonight.
right, thank you so much, Chairwoman Ann Hutzinger. Coming down to Public Safety Committee, Chairman Jay Boland.
Thank you, Mayor. In September, we approved two vehicles, two Dodge Chargers. Currently, we're 2 months from that vote, and the build and order sheets still have not become available for purchase, so we're going to switch things up. Wade Ford is now accepting orders for 2022 Ford Explorers. So I'm going to call Dick Lowry up, Assistant Chief Lowry, if you want to fill in the gaps there.
Yes, sir. As Mr. Boland stated, we were told by our vendor from Dodge, and we expected to place the order for those vehicles that you approved in September the following day. We have yet, even till today, received those bill sheets. They are not accepting orders. Major Warnock has talked several times with the police version of the Ford Explorer, of which we already have several in service. They are accepting orders now. They anticipate building those cars the first part of January. We are in need of those vehicles. Since the last meeting where this was approved, one of our vehicles was involved in a pretty significant accident and was rendered a total loss. We did receive insurance proceeds from that vehicle, an amount of $14,652. So we're actually asking for two actions from the council tonight on these vehicles. The first thing that we would ask you to do is give Ms. Warnock authorization to amend our line item to reflect the receipt of those insurance proceeds, which would bring the balance in that line item available to $91,152. You have the cost sheets, the equipment bids there in your package. We anticipate that will come in at $81,197, but we have added a contingency fee that we don't believe we will need, but we wanted to do that so we don't have to come back to you if something changes next week and do this all over again in December, because we need to order these vehicles. So that's what we're asking for. We're not going to order the Dodges. That will be amended basically to give us authorization to swap from the Dodges to these Ford Explorer pursuit vehicles that we can order right now.
Okay, so we're giving.
So yeah, I'd like to amend what we did in September to request approval budget amendment to the LPD line item 100-3200-542200 in the amount of $91,152.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion, yes, sir.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, that motion has been passed.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Lowry. Mayor, that's all I have for you this evening.
Thank you.
Now, he said he had two. No, did that cover both of them?
Yeah, that's both vehicles, yeah.
Okay, both?
Did them all together.
You're good? Okay. Anything else, sir? All right. So we're coming down to Public Utilities / Transportation Chairman Bill Duvall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item on the agenda tonight. We went to bid in October, received bids for paving. The bids came in over what we had estimated. The city has come up with some options. Danny, would you like to go through those, please?
Yes, real quick, we had LMIG budgeted for 2021 for $1,670,499.22. The lowest bid came in at $219,297.40, a difference of $51,798.18. So the options before you is, staff recommendation is to deny the bid and combine 2021 LMIG and 2022 LMIG like we did last year and get more streets, maybe reduce the cost a little bit, better unit prices. So that's staff's recommendation, is to reject bid and combine those two bids. Once we get the 22 LMIG, then we'll come back before y'all and bid it. That's our recommendation, but we also want to give you some more options. Option B would be to keep the budget and then, add more money from the general fund, which we can. Third option would be to cut streets from the current list, which we can do as well. But that's your three options to do it. So either add more money, cut project, or rebid next year.
And also by rebidding and waiting till in the spring, we'll be able to hit the paving cycle, go ahead and put those bids out, hopefully like in the March timeframe, once we get our LMIG funds for 2022, and that way we can, we'll get contractors on board, go ahead and get the paving done. That's That's kind of what my thought was with it as well.
Any thoughts on the three options? So Bill, would you like the rebid?
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we don't have to reject it. You all do that. So I'll make a motion that we will proceed with combining the 21 and 22 LMIG funds and let another advertisement.
Okay. There's a motion,
Second.
second by Lisa. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Passed.
I would like to just make a personal message real quick, if you don't mind, Mayor. So when we, about 15 years ago, we joined PAC 535, Loganville United Methodist Church. And when you join a scout troop, you join a family, and we grew up with that family. And we left the PAC after we graduated from there and went to across the street to the American Legion to Troop 535. And all of our boys grew up together. Well, one of our leaders that was certainly a stalwart throughout the time. He was, I guess I would characterize him as Mr. Dependable. He was always there, stayed with us all the way till past his son Eaglin out and moving along and going to college. Well, Stacy Carroll is a great friend of ours that passed away a day ago. And I know that if you might not know him because you don't know who they are. But if you ever had barbecue from American Legion, no doubt he was probably involved in it. And that's just a little thing. I mean, the bigger things was the mentorship and bringing young men, young boys into being great men. So heaven's doors open for Stacy Carroll this week, and it's been a tough week. With that, Mr. Mayor, I have no other.
It has been a tough week, my friend. All right. Thank you, Bill. Coming down to Public Works / Facilities, Chairwoman Linda Dodd.
I have no actual items. However, I don't know, Danny, do we need to announce this ribbon cutting that we're going to be having? Okay. We are going to be having a ribbon cutting on Tuesday, November the 30th at 11 o'clock for the City of Loganville Water Quality Control Facility. It's on 4895 Highway 81 North. If y'all want to come to that ribbon cutting, it's something that they've been working on a long time, finally come about, and so I think it's really something that we need to be proud of. So if y'all want to come, we'd love to see you there. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. All right, coming down to Human Resources, Chairman Danny Ford.
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to report on tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Danny Ford. City Manager's report, Danny Roberts.
Let's give it to Robin.
All right. Now we're coming down to City Attorney's updates and reports. Robin Webb, our City Attorney.
Mayor and Council, I have unfortunately several things for you this evening. The first is a resolution regarding the rules of decorum during council meetings. I was asked by the council to prepare this resolution, and in doing so, I surveyed several other jurisdictions throughout Georgia and nationwide who have similar resolutions, ordinances, and declarations. This is a very watered-down version of the ones that I surveyed. This actually codifies some of the things that we've kind of casually had in place, such as a 3-minute limit for each speaker. That's now codified within this resolution so that everyone is clear about how much time is allotted to each speaker. The other is that we do have a public comment period following the council meeting. For those who haven't been here, or, for years and years, this is a relatively newer phenomenon where the mayor allows people to speak after a council meeting. And so that is now codified within this resolution, and it provides that comment period will be 30 minutes unless the mayor and council feel like it's something important that's being discussed, and you all will have the discretion to extend that period of time. Then the newer parts are that the public comment portion is limited to the discussion of business on the agenda or over which the governing body has jurisdiction. So it specifically precludes any speaker from making personal, impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks to any elected official, any member of the staff, or anyone else in the general public, for instance, in the audience who's viewing the meeting. It also prevents or prohibits
loud comments or noises from the audience when other people are speaking. For instance, if someone in the audience disagrees with a speaker and proclaims or something like that, that would be in violation of this policy. The next part of the resolution is simply the enforcement. The presiding officer or his or her designee, or a majority of the council members, if they decide that the comments being presented by the person speaking during public comment period are in violation of this policy, then that person will be asked to conform the comments to the policy. If the comments continue, the person will be asked to sit down and to forfeit the remainder of their time. If they still won't comply, then they will be escorted from the meeting and will not be allowed to return during that meeting. Again, there are many more restrictive provisions that you could put in here and that I saw many of examples of, but based on the direction of the council, it was the proposal. I do want to mention, so the next thing on my list is the update to the computer policy, and that is the computer, internet, and email policy. At the same time the council asked me to draft the resolution on decorum, other members of the council said, well, we need to address the email policy at the same time. And so that's what I did. The email policy has only ever applied to the employees of the city of Loganville. The edits that I made to that policy will now apply to elected officials. A violation by an elected official will result potentially in the forfeiture of city-provided equipment such as cell phones, and potentially a city email address could be rescinded or taken away from that elected official. The Human Resources Committee is charged with investigating and deciding any violation of the internet and email policy by an elected official. So that is, and none of the rest of the email policy changed at all. It's the one that's always been in place for the employees, and all that's been done is to add elected officials. So it prevents the use of obscene language, and like the decorum policy does not allow defamatory or slanderous language, and kind of tracks that same rule. So I'm talking about both of them together so that everyone understands they are intended by direction of the council to mirror each other, if that makes sense. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right, so go ahead.
I just have one thing to say. There has been some question, because Robin's job here is to really do what she needs to do, protect the city and the council. There was some question floating around. There was an email that was sent that I was not copied on, but I got it today, about who asked the city attorney to do this. I did. The mayor in September, in my opinion, sent a regrettable and unnecessary email that started this. He sent that privately from a city email address, and the only reason that it involved us and this council is because it came from a city address. The response to that email that was here in the council chambers was here when the press was here, and it involved personal information going back and forth, or that was stated that is not city business. My job on the city council is to conduct city business, and that is all. And the email policy will address our use of the city email, and the decorum will address how we act and how the public acts. But if anybody wants to know who asked to do it, I did. I just wanted to make that public.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann. And also, just to clarify too, Robin just doesn't go out and do things on her own. So the council, it takes a majority vote. So I was one of the four that, or however many that said we have to be at least four that will say we need to move forward with it. I appreciate it. Thank you for the work. I do have one question though. So, and I'm new to a couple of years. I know that the committees are kind of set forth. I don't know if how they're arranged. Is our covenant say that there has to be human resources, or is that set by the mayor?
You want to handle that?
So in our charter, there are committees that the mayor assigns. The mayor has the power to put council on those committees at his or her discretion, which they do every year, and it's subject to the mayor. So Human Resources and I believe Economic Development is not a standard committee when the charter was written, but it is a committee now that I believe Mayor Nunley started, and it's been carried on from Mayor Curry and, of course, now Mayor Martinez. So there are committees in our charter.
So I see where you're going. You should go get your law degree. How about I think what you're getting at is that in the event, and this is the committee question, I kind of punted it to Danny because we talk about it pretty frequently, about the fact that the committees that are appointed on a yearly basis are not all of them are in the charter. But I think where you're going with this is if a particular mayor does not appoint a human resources committee, then we would have a problem with this. And so I am getting to that point. We could say human resources, sorry, I'm getting to that. Human resources or one of the standing committees under the charter in the event there is not a human resources committee. I appreciate you pointing that out.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
That's acceptable.
Okay.
I also want to go on record as being one of the 4 that voted for this.
Yes, and I would like to say
I
too
do
that
too.
when it was brought to my attention by the resolution, wanted my support. My next question is back to our city manager and attorney, saying if we're going to hold the public accountable, we need to hold ourselves accountable too. So it's definitely a two-way street. It's not a one-way street.
So Danny I'm sorry, thank you. Danny did just point out that Human Resources is a standing committee in the charter, so we can leave it as is.
There you go.
Thank you.
Question answered. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
2 different ways.
Motion?
Even though I did present those, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. Any motions? Anything else?
No, I presented those together, but I will need separate motions.
I'll make a motion. We're going to do them separately.
Yes.
Make a motion that we adopt the Articles of Decorum resolution.
All right, so we have a motion to adopt the Articles of Decorum. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay. What's the other one?
And I'll make the motion that we adopt the internet and email policy.
Okay. We have a
Second.
motion. We have a second by Linda. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's been passed. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now I would request that we enter into executive session.
I've got one question.
Yes.
There's an amendment to Walton County SDS. Do you want to do that or no?
No.
Okay, you want to go. All right. With that being said, I'm going to ask for a motion to leave regular meeting and go to executive session.
So move.
All right, we have a
Second.
motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right. All right, so we're back to regular meeting, and I'm going to direct it to our attorney, which she'll be in just a minute. She's in the bathroom, so. Yeah, we already did it. Yes, we already did it. So, while we're waiting on her, real quick, Veterans Day will be Thursday. We have a ceremony, or yearly Veterans Day, 11/11/11 over at the American Legion.
Oh, I was
So-
going to ask who was going to be this year.
At the American Legion, yes, ma'am. November 11th at 11 o'clock, so come out for that. All right, so our city attorney's back, and she's going to give us an update.
Did you make an announcement about executive session already?
No.
Okay. For the public's information, the mayor and council went into executive session. The subjects discussed were litigation that the city is currently involved in. No action was taken during executive session. The next thing I have, and then I will be done, thankfully, is an amendment to the Walton County SDS. This amendment is at the request of the Joint Development Authority of Jasper County, Morgan County, Newton County, and Walton County. And it is, this Development Authority has requested that the city of Loganville adopt a resolution agreeing to the amendment of the SDS with Walton County. And for the public that's still here and awake, the SDS is a service delivery strategy agreement. The county is required to negotiate and enter into the agreement with every city within the county. Any amendment to the SDS has to be consented to by every signatory to that agreement, which means every city. So the Joint Development Authority of those counties has some property that is located near Social Circle. There is some development that the authority has undertaken already, and some additional development that it wishes to undertake. It then wants to provide certain services to that development. Those services include building inspections, code enforcement, economic development services, EMS, fire, gas, planning and zoning, sewer, and water service. None of that really affects the city because the property is not in the city's service area, it's not near the city, but because the city is in Walton County and a signatory to the SDS, the city has got to sign off on the revisions that are being requested by this development authority. So there are two items that we will need to vote on tonight. One of them, well, actually, there's more than that. One of them is to give the mayor the authority to sign the Form 4 of the SDS. That is a form that is submitted to DCA, and it is required anytime an amendment is made to the Service Delivery Strategy Act. There is also a resolution, this is the second thing that we will need to vote on, that approves or just says that the city of Loganville consents to the proposed revisions to the SDS, the ones that have been proposed by the Development Authority. The third thing that has not been requested by the Development Authority, but is something that the mayor and council, we've had discussions about this over, the last year or two, maybe, about the provision, the city of Loganville providing sewer service outside of its territory. That is something that the city was given the authority to do if it wanted to, within the SDS that was negotiated last year. Does that make sense? It's my understanding that the city no longer wishes to have that option. In other words, it no longer wishes to have any availability of providing sewer service outside of the city limits of Loganville. So I've drafted a resolution that says just that because the city of Loganville wants to preserve its sewer capacity for development within the city, kind of protect your ability to grow as you wish and not to exceed the capacity of your sewer system, that you are confining the provision of sewer to only the properties within the city limits. There are exceptions to that for properties that are already on board to hook on to the city sewer if those properties exist. But other than that, the city will only provide sewer within its limits. So there's that resolution. Then there is a resolution affirming and agreeing to the changes requested by the Development Authority. That second resolution also references the fact that the city will not provide sewer outside of its territorial limits. And then I need a motion allowing the mayor to execute Form 4 or any other forms that are necessary to effect this revision to the SDS.
Okay, so you want to go one at a time?
Yes, please.
All
I
right,
have a
so-
question, though. What if we annex any property that's outside the city limits into the city limits?
That's a good question. When you annex property into the city, that becomes your territory,
Okay,
That's right.
except for,
so then we could provide sewer for them if they're annexed into the city?
yes, because that becomes your city limits.
Okay,
But not water, though, only sewer.
yeah, right.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so the first one is to give the mayor the ability to sign Form 44.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to request that you all vote on the resolution stating that the city of Loganville will not provide sewer outside of its city limits.
Okay.
I'll make a motion based on what you said.
Absolutely. Okay. Christie got it, I'm sure. All right, so we have a second by Ann. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, it's been passed.
The second vote I would ask for is a motion to approve the resolution that essentially approves the requested changes to the Service Delivery Strategy Act with Walton County.
So I'll make that motion that we approve the resolution to make the requested changes outside of Walton County.
That you are approving the changes requested by the Joint Development Authority to the Service Delivery Strategy Act with Walton County.
Yes.
That.
That was a
That's it.
mouthful.
Second.
All right, so we have a
Second.
motion and a second by Bill. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, it's been passed.
I make a motion that the mayor sign Form 4 approving the change to the SDS.
Yes.
So we have a motion by Bill,
Second,
second by Linda. Any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It's been passed. 6-0.
Thank you. I have no other items.
All right. Thank you so much. And it's, I see there 9:30. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to close. So with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, the meeting has been adjourned. Community feedback. Thank you.